Hi everyone and welcome to the very last episode of the ANGI podcast where we have discussed emerging issues on targeted drug delivery and nanomedicine. I'm Maria Vliora, your host throughout this podcast, where until now we had the honor to host a lot of scientists from all around Europe and discussed legal issues on targeted drug delivery, social and ethical issues. We have explored the topic of bridging the gap between nanomedicine and education in all educational levels, and also market opportunities for entrepreneurs in the field. As the ANGI project is reaching to an end, I'm very happy to have here with me Mr. Fabian Landers, a mechanical engineer that had a very crucial role in the coordination of the program, and also a co-founder of Swiss Vascular. We have started this podcast together 2 years ago, and I could not think of a better closure to this series where we can discuss all the progress and all the outcomes of our project. Hi Fabian, really happy to have you here today.
Hi Maria, thanks for having me.
So, to start with, can you give us a brief overview of the ANGI project and the main goals, because some people may have not heard the previous podcast before.
Yes, for sure. So, in a nutshell, in ANGI, what we are researching on and what we are developing on is targeted drug delivery. So, when you think about how we currently put drugs into the human body, is that we usually do this via injection. This is what we call systemic. So, for example, a doctor would take a drug and put it into a syringe, and then we just inject it into the bloodstream, for example, which works fine. The drug reaches the body, reaches all the locations in the body, and then we kind of hope that some of the drug will just go where we actually need it. But for a lot of conditions, we want the drug in one specific place. For example, if you take chemotherapy as one example, you actually want the drugs usually at a specific site inside your body, for example, a tumor site. And what we want to do in ANGI is kind of improve this current state of the art of this putting the drug everywhere of this systemic treatment by loading a little micro robot with the drug and then guiding that drug very targetedly to the position where we actually need it. And then once we reach the location inside the body where we want to have the drug, we open up our little robot, we release the drug, the whole robot then dissolves. And that way we manage to significantly reduce side effects. And the specific condition that we target in the ANGI project are strokes. So if you have a stroke, for example, it means that you, especially in ischemic strokes, you have this occlusion of a blood vessel. And oftentimes what doctors would do is they would give you a drug that opens up these occlusions. And then patients usually have a lot of side effects, for example, and they might get edema or internal bleedings. But you give this drug in a high dose because you have a stroke. Right now, once you have a stroke, that is pretty much your number one problem. And what we want to do, or what we did in the project, was that we developed this micro robot that we could magnetically steer towards the location of this occlusion, and then very locally administer our drug in order to have a high concentration locally, but overall systemically have a low concentration of this drug.
And how about today? How has the project evolved since its inception till now that we are coming to the end?
It's been a long time, right? I mean, we had this conversation, you said 2 years ago already, but I think the project itself has been running for 4 years now. And of course, the big picture remained. I think now more than ever, with more and more therapies and more molecular targeting emerging, we see this need for targeted drug delivery, this need of actually localizing treatment inside the human body. So I would say the big picture and the overarching goal has remained. But of course, there's a lot of things that we learned through research, a lot of details, where we really improved where we also discovered challenges and solved challenges that we couldn't anticipate in the beginning of the project. And I think what we are focusing right now, as the team that is working on ANG, is that we really want to make this critical translational effort now. So we've done 4 years of research. We have developed materials. We've developed electromagnetic navigation systems, a lot of computer vision, a lot of steering algorithms have been made. And our final push now is to really push this technology into the clinics and make sure that people can actually benefit of this technology. So I think while the big picture remained, we are now not as much focused on basic research anymore, but take a closer look at how we can show this efficacy in vivo as well, and how we can really make sure that this also fits into clinical workflows and is actually being used in hospitals.
Nice. And throughout this project, what are the key scientific and technological achievements that have been made?
Oh, yeah, I would say there's quite a lot of them. So because we are a very interdisciplinary team, right? So from all over Europe, we've had we have partners in the project that are experts in their specific expertise. And I would say for sure we have a lot of developments on the material science part. So that starts with magnetic nanoparticles, where we've done a lot of research and also several breakthroughs of how to make these particles in a very controlled and especially large batch manner. And we do have several publications coming on that topic as well. And then we've done a lot of progress on the magnetic navigation system side. We have seen this Navion platform emerging also for other medical applications, and now we are using 2 of these Navion systems in order to navigate our magnetic micro robots. And then, of course, with Swiss Vascular, we have also developed a process that enables us to make surgical simulators, which is something that we didn't anticipate before, right? Now we have this other area where we can also kind of give back this research and give new tools to clinicians. So I think that's pretty cool.
But from all of these, which one would you say that would be the most innovative aspects of the ANGI project?
I think for the ANGI project is getting all these things together, because or kind of putting all these individual pieces of research onto one platform. Because I think that we've seen before that there has been research in each individual of these areas. And we have seen very fragmented research over the years that people loaded drugs on the micro robots, but then they couldn't move them, or they could move them, but they couldn't load drugs. And we've seen all these fragments there. And I think the really cool thing that we managed is to put everything together. And just a few days ago, we did some in vivo trials, and we were extremely happy to see that everything seems to be working very well. We are still going through the data and analyzing it, and in due time we will also publish all our findings. But seeing that this is now the first time that we actually put this micro robot into a large animal and were able to move it around is something that is very exciting for us and also for our partners in the hospitals.
So are there any breakthroughs, which I guess there are, or any unexpected discoveries that emerged during the ANGI project?
So I would say there's one very unexpected breakthrough that we've had, because maybe to give a bit of background information, in order to kind of get the most realistic testing environment that we could, that was not yet in vivo, so not yet an animal, we developed silicon vascular models. And we did this by getting the MRA data of a pig in this case, of the vasculature of the pig, And then we developed a 3D printing and molding process that allowed us to make these vascular models to use for our own research. And then we constantly have these discussions with doctors, and we showed these models to some doctors, and they were very excited about it. And they actually asked us if they could purchase them. And we were like, we didn't have a way of giving these models to them. But what we learned later on was that currently, if you look, for example, at how doctors train for becoming proficient at interventions like thrombectomies, is that they usually just learn on the patient themselves, right? Because there's not a really good testing environment. So what was very unexpected to us was that there was actually quite a high demand for these kind of models, and now we then incorporated a company in order to provide these models to the doctors. And this is kind of another product that just came out of ANG. I don't want to say by accident, but was unexpected to us that there was actually people who said like, wow, these kind of surgical simulators are really interesting for us to advance medicine, and especially education in medicine and training, in order to make more treatments available to more people. So I would say that was for sure unexpected to us, that there was so much demand for these kind of silicon vascular models. And for sure, what I would say is another breakthrough is that we saw these microrobots swimming in vivo. This was something that has not happened before, and yeah, we're very happy with these results.
And also recently there was quite a bit of media attention drawn to the ANGI project. For example, you have won the Dubai Future Foundation's Prototype for Humanity Prize. Do you want to tell us a few things about it?
Yes, for sure. So this is a prize where this Future Foundation of Dubai goes through, I think, about 3,000 applications. And then they invite the most promising 100 innovations to Dubai to present their research and to show it to a committee. And this committee then selects in 5 categories, I think it's 5 categories. They select one project each. And we actually were very happy to win the prize in the healthcare category. And what was really cool about this event was that we actually got this platform to talk to regulators as well and investors. Because in the long run, this is for sure going to have to be our path. If we want to translate our technology into the clinics, we at some point need to leave the academic environment and also commercialize this technology.
So, what specific technologies or methods were developed or advanced through the ANGI project?
So I would say what we like from the ETH side, what we really focused on was material science. So this is really digging deep into the science of magnetic nanoparticles. There's for sure a lot of interesting progress there. We're currently writing several publications on the topic, so having to do with how we actually get our particles more magnetic, how we can stabilize them with the right ligands, and things like this. I have so this is not my research. This is the research of a few of my colleagues who have really spent a lot of time working on this. I can tell you that I've rarely seen as demanding subject as making magnetic nanoparticles. And the other thing that we also developed very closely with our partner Magnebotics, which is the company that helped developing our electromagnetic navigation system. What we've seen there is a lot of progress on making a clinically integratable system for electromagnetic navigation. There have been electromagnetic navigation systems. So what I mean by this is the system that makes the magnetic field to control the microrobot. And we've seen in the past that there are already, or there were already commercial systems. But I think the real innovation here was that they managed to fabricate a system that, for example, fits through a hospital door. So this seems very trivial, but usually these systems are multiple tons, and you need to reinforce the floor in order to put in your system into an operating theater. But what they managed to do is to have a system that is, I think, about 400 kilos, and it comes on wheels and it fits through the door so that you can just put the system in and start your operation. And that makes everything very agile. And I think it will also help to really for hospitals to adapt this technology, which is for sure very promising.
It sure is. How do you think that the project has contributed to the advancement of the targeted magnetic drug delivery?
So I think ANGI was a very important step for this field. In the sense that we had the chance to collaborate with people from so many fields, and were able to now have one integrated system. For sure, there's a lot of room for improvement, as with every development. We can always be better and improve on this. But I think, especially with the doctors that we talk with, seeing that this is not science fiction and not just an idea, but we can actually move our micro-robots, that we can see our micro-robots, and that we can have clinically relevant workspaces. And this is not just something that we want to sell to them as an idea, but there's actually a big technology behind this, and there's actually systems that are able to make these micro-robots move. I think this was a big step. And from this point on, I think we are starting with much more momentum, because people see that this has efficacy. This is really something that works. And I think for that, ANGI was very important.
I'm sure that there have been a lot of challenges throughout the ANGI project, throughout the technical part of the ANGI project. Which one do you think that was the greatest challenge that has been faced in translating the laboratory findings into practical applications?
So I think for us, one of the biggest challenges that we are still working on is the regulatory pathway. Because, as I said, our big goal and the big goal of the entire team is to take this technology and actually bring it to patients, bring it to the hospitals. And this regulatory pathway is, first of all, we are new to this, so we are learning a lot, but also it's not really clear because there's not really a comparable technology out there. But recently we had the chance to also talk to people from the European Medical Agency and get some feedback there. And I think there's a lot that is a lot of support that is being offered from the EU to guide us through this process. But this is for sure something that we still have to look into, and where we still need to spend some time on. And then the other thing is business strategy, obviously, because I think we now have this platform that enables us to do targeted drug delivery inside the human body. But for us now, one of the questions is, what do we actually want to use this for? Where does it make sense to first go into the market? So I think this is something where we're also talking to a lot of experts and stakeholders in order to really get the most ideal strategy there.
So the ANGI project had many different partners. What role do you think that the collaboration between the partners play in the success of this project?
I think this was absolutely crucial to get partners with from so many different fields together. I always say that we have this lecture at ETH about microrobotics, and I always say what excites me about microrobotics is that you have so many interdisciplinary people there, right? We have chemists, we have physicists, we have engineers, biologists, pharmacists, and actually just by all of these people coming together and understanding each other, we can actually make progress in the field, because everyone is really needed. And for example, for us, we had quite a lot of experience already with fabricating micro robots, and then together with Magnobotics also for manipulating them. But then aspects like microfluidics or pharmacology were really a bit out of our scientific comfort zone. So it was great to have partners there that really supported us and helped us to understand their fields, and it wouldn't have been possible without them, for sure.
Okay, so what was that involvement of the interdisciplinary teams in achieving the objectives of the project?
So I think for us it was really important that we collaborated on all levels. So of course we had regular kind of leadership meetings for all the different partners, but also on a PhD student level, we would all meet regularly. We would have weekly meetings where we go through what we've done. We would discuss challenges, and get the different insights of everyone, what they were stuck on, what they were working on right now. And I think that was very helpful in understanding where the challenges lie. And also in understanding what we needed to still improve. So I think communication and regular interaction was very crucial here.
Another very crucial part in this project was the involvement of the stakeholders. How do you think that stakeholders like patients, clinicians were involved in this project until now?
So we had a lot of work being done together with, for example, SAFE, the Stroke Association for Europe, and they managed to engage a lot of patients' organizations with us and managed to open up the dialogue there. And I think what for me was very crucial was the involvement of doctors, because doctors are every day confronted with the challenges that you have in these fields, and they are the only ones that know where we have to kind of foster this innovation, right? And being able to get doctors to talk to us and make time out of their incredibly busy schedules to work with us and understand what we could do and where we could help them, I think that was very crucial. And then we had several doctors that also invited us to come, for example, for operations and for these treatments, so we could actually see the clinical workflows and understand where we would come in, make sure that the systems that we develop are actually useful to them. I think from that side, involving doctors and clinicians is absolutely crucial in these projects to make sure that what you develop is actually useful and not just cool engineering.
So another part of the stakeholders that should be involved in this project would be the general public. Do you think that the project has contributed to public awareness or policy discussions regarding nanomedicine?
I hope so. I hope we really contributed. I think so. We definitely had, for example, this podcast series. We have a lot of videos online about our technology. And I think this is also something that we may have started, but where we will see a lot more coming in the coming years, right? With our papers being published and more and more products coming closer to the market. I think the general public is going to realize that there's some development there and some development that has immense potential also to help and treat conditions that were previously untreatable. And I think through that we will get more and more of the general public involved in the discussion.
And I also think that there was a big effort that has been made through this project, through one of the work packages that we had to work on. As you said, we created this podcast. We had an open platform for the public to talk to the scientists where we had a lot of people asking questions. We have a book upcoming the next days about all the emerging issues on targeted drug delivery and nanomedicine. More or less, it is about social issues. And I think that this is the part that we should focus on when we're talking to the public about the social issues, because people do not tend to have a lot of interest about the technical stuff, but the stuff that is going to affect them. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, they want to see the result of the product that we have. So through this project, I think we also managed to reach the people that are out of the scientific community.
Yes, for sure.
What do you think that are the most promising applications of the project outcomes?
That's very interesting. This is actually a topic that we discuss a lot about right now, because we have this technology now at our hands, and we want to keep developing it. And now it's going to be very interesting in which direction we will take this. I think for sure one of the applications will remain the intravascular pathway, so essentially moving inside the blood vessels. There's a lot of applications beyond strokes where we can go into, right? So we have, for example, aneurysms, where we could see applications where we embolize aneurysms that are very hard to treat right now. Or if we look at arteriovenous malformations, these are also malformations that are extremely difficult to treat with current technologies, and where we can really do a progress. One of the other applications where I would be very interested in going into is targeted drug delivery for gliomas. Because what we've seen with the technology right now is that we have more and more molecular targeting, more and more biotech emerging at the moment. So, for example, CAR T therapies or antibodies. You see all these great technologies emerging, and I think for sure in the future this will revolutionize medicine. But one drawback or one challenge that still remains to be solved is that most of these technologies still suffer from a delivery problem. And I think there we can really make a difference and use the ANG technology in order to enable all these other developments that have been in the making for several decades already. And I think one particular condition that I would like to focus on is brain cancer, especially brain stem cancer, which is a type of cancer where we don't have any other treatment available right now. It's a very devastating cancer that is mostly being found in children, and right now there's no way of treating this condition. So I think this is also another condition where the ANG drug delivery platform could really be extremely useful.
Okay, and now I have a question that I have asked you before, and I have also asked to quite a few of the scientists that participated in this project. How close are we to using the actual technology of ANGI in the real world?
That's a good question. I think technology-wise, we are not that far away. So what we've seen in our large animal trials just a few days ago is that we can actually move these robots, we can control them. So technologically, we are quite far ahead. One of the things that we now need to look into is a regulatory pathway. So for good reasons, you have to go through these pathways, you have to go through the regulatory process in order to actually use new technologies inside patients and in order to offer them to patients. And I think that in itself totally makes sense. It's great that we have these rules in place in order to make sure that the technologies are safe and that we can ensure that we don't harm the patients. And I think this is something where we need to start putting much more focus on, is how can we actually improve these technologies in order to be translated into the clinics. So I don't have a crystal ball. I cannot tell you an exact number of years, but I would think that hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years we will see this technology inside the clinics.
This is great. Are there any plans for any follow-up projects or initiatives to build upon on the ANGI work?
Absolutely. So we are, I think the core team of this project is still extremely dedicated to the goals that we had, and that we still have. And we've seen this huge amount of progress that we've made over the past 4 years. I think we didn't even plan to already start with the in vivo trials within these 4 years. And for sure we will keep going. The ultimate goal still is to translate this technology into the clinics and make sure that patients can benefit from this technology. And I think for sure we will keep looking how to advance this, first of all, academically, but then also translate it and get, well, most likely spin this technology off to get the medical approvals to translate it into the clinics.
Nice. So one question that is a bit more personal. So what do you think that has been the most rewarding part of ANGI for you, looking back in all these 4 years?
I think for us, so I don't tend to be a very emotional person usually, but if you read medical papers sometimes, and as I said, maybe one of our new focuses will also be gliomas, so brain cancer. And if you read papers, especially about brainstem glioma, what you see is that you get these tables, right? So they have these tables of patients, and then you have usually you have the age, you have the sex of the patient, and then you have the treatment options and the status. And what you would find there is usually for example, for brainstem glioma, the patients are usually between 5 and 9 years old, and then there's like 50 of them, and usually the status is either intensive care or dead. And I think there are so many devastating diseases out there, and having the feeling that we can actually contribute to the general progress of fighting these devastating diseases is something that really motivates us, where we see that we can make a difference, that we can contribute to the progress. Of course, we cannot solve these challenges on our own, but seeing that we can actually do something to change the current state of the art and to help patients is so rewarding, and really helps us all to push through weekends and night shifts in order to make this happen. So I think that's really great.
This is great indeed. And before we put an end to this podcast, is there any message that you would like to share with the listeners about the importance of projects like the ANGI project?
Yes, I think it's great that we got the opportunity to try this kind of high risk, high reward project. I think we were extremely successful, and I think there's going to be a lot of reward of this project in the future. And when you think about it, these kind of technologies make sense, that we don't put drugs just all over the human body, but that we concentrate them in one spot. But being bold enough to found these kind of high risk, high reward technologies is something that is very important, because in the process we've learned so much. We've seen influence in a lot of fields of these developments, and I think that this is really something that can drive innovation in Europe, and that can also help to find things that we didn't expect. So I think these kind of initiatives are awesome and really help us to advance technology and also to help patients and the general population.
Well, thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks to everyone that has been with us along this series of podcasts. You can still get news about the ANGI project through our X and LinkedIn accounts, and of course through our website that are all linked in the description box. And till the next project, goodbye everyone.